Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade. It's always good to have him here in New York, and the Minister is with me now. I just want to start with the full text of China's plan, China's position on the politics settlement. It starts with the number one point, respecting the sovereignty of all countries. Now, once that's your starting point, don't you then have to say Russia has already failed in this plan?
Well, good afternoon. First of all, thank you so much for the invitation. Again, I'm happy to be back to your program. As you said, former minister and current state councillor Wang Yi has not only visited Hungary before going to Moscow, but he was in Germany, in France and Italy as well. So the three G7 countries from the European Union, and we were honored to be on his travel schedule as well, since China is an important partner for us when it comes to trade and investments. We have discussed a bit, but just a bit, about this peace plan since the visit took place on Monday, and they just announced the points now. What I can say is that I totally agree that sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries on earth must be respected, and it must be respected by everyone. I think this is a very important basic pillar of international politics, or it should be a basic pillar of international politics.
And if that is the case, you obviously then it follows you accept that Russia has breached the sovereignty of Ukraine.
Well, it's no question. I mean, the Russian Federation has attacked Ukraine. And we Hungarians, we do condemn this attack. We do condemn this war. And it's obvious that we stand by Ukraine, and we call for the respect of territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine. That's no question. I said it to you many times already.
You did. Why did you go to Belarus? I mean, what purpose does it serve going to give comfort, in a sense, to a country that is part of, if you will, the Russia axis against Ukraine?
Well, you know, we are a neighboring country to Ukraine. And the impacts of the war are severe and immediate on us. And we as a neighboring country, we have the concern that this war might be escalated and prolonged, both in geographic terms and both time-wise. And therefore I asked my counterpart, my colleague, the foreign minister of Belarus, to refrain from any kind of steps which would either prolong or escalate this war. As a neighboring country, it is super important for us, because if a war is being escalated, then the escalation does not appear on the other side of the ocean or thousands of kilometers away. It appears in the neighborhood. We are a neighboring country. We have serious security concerns because of the war. So for us, it's very important that all countries refrain from any kind of steps which would bring the risk of either escalation or prolongation of this war.
Talking of escalation, in terms of sanctions, the EU, I'll save you the breath of saying it. I understand Hungary has supported every sanctions measure being put forward by the EU. I've said it, you don't need to, Minister. So now...
sorry, Richard, I don't want to interfere. I just want to say that we do not support the sanction policy as such. We have just not vetoed. We don't think that the sanction policy is good. We don't think that the sanctions would work. We don't like the sanctions. We don't support them. But we have not vetoed any packages so far. This is very precise this way. Sorry to interfere.
No, well, yes, OK, your point is taken. So I can just reframe my question. Will you veto the 10th when it comes up for a vote?
No, we will not veto, and I tell you why not. Because during the discussions about the package, we were successful in gaining all those exemptions which took all those issues out of the sanctions which are important for us. For example, we made it very clear that we would and will never support any sanction which would restrict the nuclear cooperation so far. We will never support any kind of sanction which would restrict oil deliveries from Russia to Hungary or the gas deliveries. And since we were successful in taking out all those issues from this package, which are important for us and which are vital from the perspective of Hungary, we don't like it, we don't support it, but we don't veto it.
Okay, so if this is the scenario that we now face ourselves in, and we are looking at various countries suggesting an increase in military support, and I hear what you say about what your Prime Minister has said. So how do you get out of this? How do we get out of this? If Russia won't withdraw and Ukraine is demanding full sovereignty under the sovereignty of all countries, how do you think Hungary can play a role that doesn't impede the successful, if you like, restoration of Ukraine?
Look, we are a neighboring country, as it is widely known. And as a neighboring country, for us, an immediate ceasefire and peace is vital. And not only because we are neighbors, but because of the fact that Hungarians are dying in this war. I'm not quite sure, Richard, you even know that there's a significant Hungarian community living in the western part of Ukraine. Members of this community are obviously Ukrainian citizens, so they are being conscripted into the Ukrainian army. Many of them have been deployed on the front line, and unfortunately, many of them have died. So I'm representing a nation, let's put it this way, members of which have already died in this war. So when we call for saving lives of the people,
right,
it comes from this perspective that we are losing people and we are there in the neighborhood. So how peace could be made? Because this is your question. I think peace can only be made in case those who are party to the conflict can talk to each other. That's why when we say that the channels of communication must be kept open, this is why we say that, because if there's no communication, if the channels are being cut, then we give up even the hope for peace. Because at the end of the day,
okay.
I hope you, sorry, at the end of the day, I hope you agree with me that the war means failure of diplomacy and
right,
peace means success of diplomacy. So we have to double the diplomatic efforts.
Okay, but two points as a result of that. Firstly, to those Hungarian, if you will, Ukrainian nationals of Hungarian descent. Obviously, anyone who dies receives. I mean, it's just horrific. But has that tilted the fact that there are those of Hungarian descent in Ukraine? Has that tilted the way your party and your government views the Ukrainian prosecution of its defence?
So could you please repeat the second part of the question, because I couldn't hear. I really apologize.
No, I'm basically asking whether or not the fact that there are Hungarian descent in Ukraine, has that to some extent altered the way you look upon Ukraine and its defence?
Well, we look at Ukraine as a country which has been attacked. We look at Ukraine as a country, territorial integrity and sovereignty of which is violated. But we see the conflict as a brutal one where hundreds or even thousands of people are dying on a daily basis. So what we think the number one duty now should be to save lives. And you cannot save lives with weapon deliveries. You cannot save lives with sanction regimes. You can only save lives if you stop the war, if you come to an immediate ceasefire, if you sit to the table to discuss, to launch peace talks, at the end of which some sustainable peace agreement should be reached. This is what we say, and this is what we hope for. And if we can help, we are ready to help.
And I agree, and that is what most people who are familiar with foreign negotiations say. So my last question is, does, in your view and in your government's view, does that also mean, at peace negotiation, does that also mean, A, sovereignty guarantees to Ukraine for the future, but perhaps more importantly, a return to sovereignty borders either of 22 or 2014 pre-Crimea? Which would you be looking at?
Well, you know, I told you at the beginning of this discussion that we are in favor of respecting territorial integrity and sovereignty of all countries. So we hope that a sustainable peace can be created where Ukraine gets its guarantees for its sovereignty. No question.